The desert sun scorched the cracked earth, turning everything to dust and silence, except the cage. A rusted metal box, left like a forgotten wound in the sand. Inside it, two figures huddled, barely more than children. White hair hung like silk curtains around pointed ears. Their eyes, large and unblinking, mirrored galaxies too far from this broken world. They didn't belong here. Neither did Elias Boone, ex-miner turned scavenger, wandering what was left of Earth after the Exodus. Most humans were gone now, fled to orbital cities or colonies on cleaner worlds. Those who stayed behind scraped by on what they could salvage: ruins, tech scraps, memories. Elias had been following a weak distress beacon from a half-buried transport ship, hoping for fuel cells or a working transceiver. What he found instead was the cage. And the girls. Alien, clearly, but so human in their smallness, their stillness. The older one looked ready to fight, crouched like a wildcat. The younger pressed her face to the bars, her eyes locked on him. He should have walked away. He didn't. Elias knelt slowly, lowering his pack. "You alone out here?" Silence. A sharp gust of wind sent a swirl of sand skimming past the cage. The older girl bare her teeth. The younger one leaned closer. Her voice was thin, cracked from thirst and fear. "Can I call you Dad?" Elias's throat clenched. He looked at her, really looked. Skin too pale, bones too light, but eyes so full of something he hadn't seen in years. Hope. He rose, circled the cage, found the makeshift lock, a plasma weld. Military grade. Someone wanted them contained. Someone with tools and cruelty. He powered up his bolt cutter. Sparks flew. The metal groaned. The older girl flinched, wrapping her arms around her sister. The younger just watched him. No fear. Just waiting. The cage door clanged open. They didn't move. "It's safe," he said, voice rough. "You're free." Still they didn't move. So Elias took off his gloves and stepped back, palms up. "My name's Elias," he said. "I'm not here to hurt you. I've got water, food, shelter." A long moment passed. Then the younger one crawled forward, on hands and knees, past the rusted door. She didn't run. She walked to him, leaned against his leg, and whispered again, "Dad." Elias swallowed hard and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Yeah, kid. You can." They didn't talk much, not at first. He learned their names later, Rill and Tana. Sisters. Refugees. Cargo. They had been captured months ago by a rogue warband, humans who'd stayed behind not out of stubbornness but greed. Slavers, hunters, smugglers. They didn't care what species you were as long as someone would pay. Rill was the older one, fierce, watchful, scarred. She barely ate. Never slept deeply. Always checking exits. Tana was quiet. Gentle. She clung to Elias's sleeve like a pup afraid of thunder. They camped near the ridge for a few nights. Elias taught them how to heat food pouches, how to purify water. They listened with wide eyes, eager but cautious. "Where's your family?" Tana asked one night, curled in the faded blanket he'd found for her. "Gone," Elias replied. "Long time now." "Did you have kids?" "Had a son," he said, voice low. "His name was Cole. Would have been your age now." Tana's fingers curled around his wrist. Did he call you Dad?" Elias smiled, sad and small. "Yeah. Every day." By the end of the week, they were moving again. He'd fixed up an old sandcrawler, slow, but sturdy. They traveled at dawn and dusk to avoid the heat. Tana sat beside him, humming quietly. Rill never left the back, always scanning the horizon. One day, Tana brought him a drawing. Crude, childlike. A sun, a crawler, 3 stick figures. One had big ears. Another had a long braid. The third, broad shoulders, a hat, and the word, Dad, scratched beneath. Elias stared at it for a long time before folding it into his pocket. Trouble came near Sector 7, a supply outpost, mostly abandoned. But the slavers had left traps, motion sensors, patrol bots, and worse. They walked into an ambush. Rill shouted just in time. Elias fired back with his old rifle, covering the girls as they ran for cover. One of the slavers recognized the sisters. "There's the hall. Don't kill the pretty ones." Rage boiled in Elias's chest. He didn't care who these bastards were. No one was taking his girls. He dropped two, with clean shots. Took a hit to the shoulder. Didn't stop. Rill grabbed a shock baton from one of the fallen and used it like she'd been trained. Tana hid behind the crawler, clutching her drawing, eyes wide with terror. In the end, they won. Barely. Elias bled through his sleeve. Rill had a bruised rib. Tana wouldn't speak for hours. That night, Elias sat by the fire, face lit by embers. Tana curled into his side. Rill watched from the shadows. "I couldn't save my own boy," Elias said quietly, "but I swear to every star above, no one's ever gonna hurt you again." Rill stepped closer. Her voice was soft, for the first time. "You already saved us." Weeks passed. They found an old commune, a buried dome shelter still half-functional. Clean air. Hydroponics. Solar array. It became home. Elias rebuilt the walls. Tana planted flowers. Rill started smiling. Once, then twice, then more often. Elias taught them how to fix things, how to read old maps, how to dream again. They drew on the walls stars, ships, stick figure families. Always 3. One day, Tana brought him a carved piece of scrap metal. She'd etched Dad on it. Clumsily but proud. "It's a badge," she said. "Like soldiers wear." He wore it every day after. Years later, when the rescue ships finally came, when the colony sent envoys to find the lost and the stranded, they offered Elias a place on a fresh world. Luxuries. Clean skies. He declined. "I've got my own stars right here." The girls chose to stay too. But they didn't hide anymore. They walked freely, laughed loudly, danced in the rain when it came. One evening, Rill looked out over the desert and said, "Do you ever think about leaving?" "Sometimes," Elias replied. "But..." He smiled. "Then I remember someone once asked me if she could call me Dad." Rill's eyes softened. "She still does."